I do a lot of one-to-one workshops for people. They're mainly my YouTube fans, and this gentleman, Andy, comes from Milwaukee in the state of Wisconsin in the USA. He came with his delightful wife for a one-day workshop, and we had a lovely time. And I was really pleased to discover that he comes from Milwaukee, and that's where my father studied from 1928 to 1932, which is almost 100 years ago. So I was very sentimental, and I was telling him all about what my father did in those years when he went to America to study. So let me tell you something about my father's background, because he had a significant influence on my life and my career. So let me show you the video of Andy and his workshop first, and then I will tell you something about my father. So I have here Andy all the way from, is it?
Milwaukee,
Milwaukee or Wisconsin. And I discovered that because you're from there, I show you the diplomas where my father graduated. In fact, let us show you. Stay there, keep the thing running, because it's not often I come across people who came from the university town where my father went in 1928. This is a bit of history for you YouTube viewers. So here, if you can hold the corner of that, School of Engineering, Milwaukee, and that's my father, Samuel Chan Hing. So these are the actual diplomas that he was awarded. This is the 22nd day of December in the year of our Lord, 1930. How about that? So he was awarded that one. So he studied for 4 years in Milwaukee. So that's the first one. So then the second one is this one. So let's call this one. Again, School of Engineering, Milwaukee, Samuel Chan Heng, Commercial Electrical Engineer. And this was awarded. We have subscribed our names confirmed by the corporate seal here to affixed to the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, United States of America, this 20th day of December in the year of our Lord, 1929, and signed by the principal and board of examiners. So that is that one, and there is one more. This one, School of Engineering, Milwaukee, College of Electrical Engineer, to all to whom this diploma may come, greeting. Be it known that Samuel Chan Hing, having satisfactorily completed the full number of studies required in the course of electrical engineering in the College of Electrical Engineering, and having been approved and recommended by the faculty as by authority of the Board of Directors of the School of Engineering of Milwaukee, under the laws of the state of Wisconsin, been admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science, entitled to all the honors, rights, and privileges pertaining to that degree, given at Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this 23rd day of December, AD 1931. So there you go. For posterity, I'm showing on YouTube for the first time my father's pedigree. I'm also an electrical engineer, but from the Indian Institute of Technology. But here we have Steve, all the way from there. I'm glad to meet you, and you're one of my keen YouTube followers. He's come with his wife Jessica, and we've done some very interesting projects. We did a little procumbens juniper to begin with, and this was a complete mess, and we did a simple informal upright Scots pines, and then we did a very complicated tree. I wish I could show you one of the trees like this before it started. I will do another YouTube video showing this, but this was very complicated. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, it was, Andy, it was very complicated. It was all mashed together. Yeah.
We found some order out of disorder, and there's some lovely gins here, and we had like a cascade tree out of it. So we managed to double twist these bends, and then we did for the next project a literati. I wish I had shown you the before picture. This branch here came straight out like that. So we couldn't decide whether to cut it off or not, but we decided to keep it, and we've done a double literati like that. So you must admit this came out very well.
Yeah, it's very interesting how the one branch mirrors the other one.
Okay, so it's mirroring the image. But you haven't worked on many pines back home?
No, not many pines.
Oh, all right.
Mostly deciduous
You're going to go back home?
Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed it.
Very much so. It was a pleasure meeting you.
It's always lovely to meet all these YouTube fans from all over the world.
Yeah.
And I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Let me give you a preview of what it will be. This picture here is of my grandfather. That means my father's father and my grandmother. My grandfather went to India at the young age of 19, and he worked there till he died in 1984. So he was a classic entrepreneur. And he came from southern China in Guangzhou and went to Calcutta in 1890. This is a picture of me when I'm not sure how old I was then. I couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 years old. So this is my grandfather holding me. It's a rather grainy picture, and we lived in Calcutta. Another picture of me with my grandfather and grandmother in our family home in Calcutta. So these pictures were probably taken in possibly 1942, 1943, when the Second World War was going on. So a quick glimpse of my family history. It's all recorded. I did a lot of research, and this is what I found. This is an old document found in the British Library. It's the Bengal and Assam, Bihar and Orissa History, People, Commerce and Industrial Resources, dated 1917. So let me read for you some of the entries that were made about our family business. So my grandfather set up a business called K.T. Hing and Brothers because he had 2 brothers, and they set up a company called K.T. Hing Brothers. And it says 2 enterprising young Chinese gentlemen, Messrs. C.C. Kwan, which was my grandfather, and C.C. Argue, arrived in Calcutta in or about the year 1891 and obtained employment in one of the leading furnishing establishments of the city. But they did not travel from the Far East to the shores of the Bay of Bengal merely to act as salesmen on behalf of strangers. They had visions of an important commercial undertaking with which their own names should be associated and in which their energies might find full scope for development. So I don't want to read all of this. You can read it, pause it and read it. So it goes on to say, so let me home and on this bit. It says, the gentleman's progressive spirit was shortly afterwards rewarded by being able to enter into several large contracts for building of railway carriages and wagons and of bodies for cars and various kinds. And it goes on to say here, in order to illustrate the remarkable growth of the business of the construction of carriages during the 2 years which had elapsed since the acquisition of the factory, it may be said that in the year 1901, the firm supplied all labour, materials and fittings for 291 tramway cars and wagons and 250 railway bogie carriages and vans with bodies 50 feet in length of various gauges, the railway carriages being built for local engineering firms and for the East Bengal Railway Company. So there you are. And they also, let me see, they had the reputation which earned them and entrusted with the furnishing of the camps for the government of India and Bengal at the Coronation Durbar held in Delhi in November 1911. That was King Edward's or King George V's Durbar, like a coronation in India. So this is it, my grandfather and his business. So what happened to my father then? He didn't enter the family business, but he went to Milwaukee to study electrical engineering. So this is where the Milwaukee connection comes in. This is a picture of my mother. She married at the age of 17, I think. She married when she was just 17 and left Hong Kong and went to India because my father met her in Hong Kong when he was in college there. He was doing his high school in southern China, and during the school holidays he used to go and live with the visiting minister. My mother's father was a Christian minister, so when he was having his holidays there, he met my mother. I think he was 5 years older than my mother, so he was about 22 and she was 17 when they married. So they went over to India to live with the family, joint family in Calcutta. So immediately after my father got married, which must have been in 1927 or 1928, he decided to take up electrical engineering. So he wrote to all the colleges in America and he homed in on one particular school of engineering called the Milwaukee School of Engineering, MSOE. If you look it up, Milwaukee School of Engineering is a very, very famous engineering school, and that's where he applied and got admission. So he sailed from Calcutta all the way to England and then crossed the Atlantic from Liverpool to New York and then on to Milwaukee to study his electrical engineering. So there you are, there's a photograph that he has signed himself. 1928, he was on board the ship en route to America to study. So at the age of 22, he looked very mature, very, very mature, and quite an old age, because I graduated at the age of 22 and he started his 4-year course at the age of 22. So that's another picture of him in the snow. Must have been very cold there. And there he was with some of his friends. This is 1931, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, USA. Another picture of my father. This is my auntie. So these were the railway carriages that our company used to make in Calcutta for the railways in India. They were making 30 or 40 a month, which was literally one a day. And they employed about 2,000 workers, I believe. But the company didn't survive beyond the war. After the Second War, the company started going downhill. So this is a picture of my father on his graduation, and there you are. This is the card he has after 5 days returned to the Milwaukee School of Engineering, 102 North Broadway, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is the letter of application which my father wrote to the president of the School of Engineering, Milwaukee. So there you are. I think he went on to say that, he will pursue the course if he helps me out. So I have 3 parchment documents or diplomas, and this one was awarded in 1929 when he got the qualification of Commercial Electrical Engineer from the School of Engineering, Milwaukee, Samuel Chan Heng. Now let me move on to another one. So this second one was awarded in 1930, and it was when he qualified as an industrial engineer. I think this is the most important one. as you can see, is from the School of Engineering, Milwaukee, what is normally known today as MSOE. And this is what I read out. It is to Samuel Chan Hing, and he was awarded the Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, dated 1931, December 31. About 15 years ago, I think it was 2008 or 2009, I decided to write out of interest to the Milwaukee School of Engineering, telling them that my father had graduated from there in 1932. And because I knew very little about my father, I asked them if they had any record of his studies there. And I was absolutely amazed. They sent me reams and reams of his results, which go back to the 24th of December, 1931. There you are. And here it is. Chan Samuel, Industrial Electrical Engineering, passing grade 75. And what he got was, you can see, 88% marks, 80%, 90%, 83%, 88%, 87%. So he had very, very good grades. Very clever guy, which I never was. I wasn't very good at my studies. I'm sure you would like to see this because I'm very fond of this picture. This is a picture of my father and mother when they had just married. She was 17 and he was 22. And there you are. Typical classic 30s style, I think. Sadly, my father died at the age of 41. He never saw his full potential. He was killed in the Calcutta riots. And so I tried to follow in father's footsteps by becoming an electrical engineering student. I didn't like electrical engineering. I hated it. And that is why I ended up being a bonsai gardener. So what a letdown. But nevertheless, despite being a bonsai gardener, I was accorded the highest honor by being invited to address the Convocation of the Indian Institute of Technology in December 1922. And I will show you some pictures of that in just a minute. So where is the Milwaukee connection between my father's time in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA, and Peter Chan Connect? Let me continue the story by telling you a little bit about my life history. When I grew up, my father died when I was 6.5 years old. So I always had a dream of trying to emulate what my father wasn't able to do. And because he was a very good electrical engineer, I always had visions of trying to take over from where he left off. So I went and joined a very, very famous engineering university, if you can call it a university. In fact, it is one of India's institutes of national importance, called the Indian Institute of Technology. Now it is world famous, but in the 50s and 60s, no one had ever heard of it. The IIT was modeled after the famous Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and we had a lot of professors from MIT and UNESCO which taught here. I joined the IIT in 1958 and I graduated in 1962. Here I am in 1958 when I was only 18 years old. And this is what I looked like then. This is a picture of me with my mother and my auntie when they visited me, I think in 1961 or 62. This is the old building. A little bit about the IIT history. This was the watchtower for a prison camp, and in the days of the British Raj, the Britishers used this as an internment camp for political prisoners. And in fact, a few political prisoners were shot and killed by the British here. So it is very sentimental for the Indian nation to respect this very hallowed place. So this is the old building of the IIT, which in fact is the watchtower for the prison. Here I am in 1963, December, or I think it was 31st January when I had the convocation and I received my degree. The gentleman on the right-hand side went on to the United States, and he was one of these pioneers in Silicon Valley. He set up a thriving business in the United States. I didn't have the privilege of going there, but I went to the UK instead. So he was the topper of the class. He always was first in the class, and I was somewhere about 120 out of a class of 125. I was never a good student, but I was very famous on the campus because I was a maverick and I was the state cycling champion. I was known in IIT as a very famous cyclist. There was a very famous roundabout at the entrance of the IIT building. That sign is now gone. The turn left sign, because in India people drive on the left-hand side, and we had to turn left around the roundabout. I like this sign because it shows that I turned left and didn't follow electrical engineering. I did something completely different. This is me winning the West Bengal Cycling Championships at the age of 18. I was a sprinter in those days. And I was awarded the Institute Cycling Blue in 1961. Here, me and some of our classmates outside our hall of residence. As you can see, I was always very smartly dressed. This is me receiving my degree from the most famous director of the IIT Kharagpur, Dr. Sen Gupta. This was on 31st January 1963. I visit the institute from time to time, and this is a visit I made probably back in 1998 with one of my classmates. He also went on to the United States. On another of my visits, I used to visit the IIT, and I donated quite a large sum of money to plant trees on the campus. So you can see my connection with trees, not with engineering, but with trees. I'll just show you this picture because I was the state cycling champion of West Bengal. I was a sprinter. This is a picture of me with my daughter in 1995 when I took her to visit the college. She's visited the institute twice with me. This was the year when she was finishing Cambridge. So to visit the IIT and having been in Cambridge, I thought she wouldn't think much about the IIT, but she was very impressed, I must say. Here she is on one of the ancient trains, which is in the Technology Museum in IIT. This is a picture when we graduate. This is a farewell picture, and I'm sitting right in the front next to the warden. So I was always at the forefront of extracurricular activities. I was never good at studies, but I was very good at doing extracurricular things. Picture of me outside the famous IIT building. And although I was never a bright student, I'm very proud that the IIT recognized me for doing other things which made me famous in my latter days. So in 2015, I was awarded the Institute's Distinguished Alumnus Award. And this award is usually given to about 10 or 12 people each year. And in that year, I'm very proud to say that I was awarded the prize with Mr. Sundar Pichai. Let me move the camera and show you a much larger picture. At the bottom here, where my cursor is pointing, this is Sundar Pichai. At that time, on the very day, 15th of August 2015, he was made the chief of Google and Alphabet. So he is still the present head of Google worldwide. So you can see that I have some reflected glory being awarded the Distinguished Alumnus Award with Mr. Sundar Pichai. So that is my claim to fame. And that is me, only a humble gardener. So when people ask what I do, I say I'm only a bonsai gardener, whereas other people are all rear admirals, president of this company, president of that company, chief of Google worldwide, and so on. But anyway, that is Peter Chen for you. Now let me go on and show you some more pictures. And of course, my crowning glory, more important in all the bonsai and all the other achievements, was being invited to be the chief guest at the 68th Convocation of my old university or institute, the 68th Convocation. Here I was, the chief guest. And to put things in perspective, that was me in December 2022. And then the next year, the chief guest was no other than the President of India. Usually convocations of the IIT Kharagpur are graced by presidents and prime ministers of the country, but the director in 2022 decided that he would invite me to be the chief guest. So what more could I ask for in life? So that is a potted history of my life. So I don't just do bonsai, I do many other things. So that is Peter's connection with Michigan and Milwaukee, where my father went in 1928 to study engineering. I ended up studying engineering here. So I don't often tell things about my past, but I felt I should give you something about my life history. I hope you've enjoyed this. I thought I'd finished doing a video of my lesson for Andy from Milwaukee. So to my great surprise, yesterday I had a parcel from Andy and his wife. To remind you, this is Andy, and the workshop we did was this. So let me tell you how the sequel of this story ends. I did a workshop for Andy on the 15th of July, which is exactly a fortnight ago. And I was telling him about my connection with Milwaukee, where he comes from. I told him how my father studied there from 1928 to 32. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I had a surprise package all the way from America. And this is what came in the package. It wasn't just a card, because he did send me a lovely card, a little thank you card. And here it is. Let me read it to you. And he sent me a photograph as well. And he says here, "Dear Peter," or "Hi Peter, it was an absolute pleasure meeting with you. The projects we worked on turned out so well, I wish I could have brought them back to the States. I look forward to continuing to watch more YouTube videos. Please enjoy the MSOE items as a token of our appreciation. Thanks, Andy and Jessica." So what did Andy and Jessica send me from Milwaukee? He took all the trouble to send me the souvenir booklet from the MSOE, Milwaukee School of Engineering. And I couldn't put it down last evening. I read through it completely. Such an interesting book about the history of the MSOE. And of course, to tell you very briefly about the history, it was founded in 1903 by Oscar Verwalt. I think he's a German immigrant to that part of the United States, which has a lot of German descendants. And of course, so when my father went to Milwaukee School of Engineering in 1928, the School of Engineering was already 25 years old. And that name, Oscar Vervat, was the founder of the school. And I do, in fact, have a letter that my father wrote. Here's the letter. This is the letter. This is our company letterhead. We were based in 45 Dharamtala Street, and the date is 26th of February 1928. So it is addressed to, I don't know why he called him Walter Vervat, but he, not Walter, I think is Oscar. 163 East Wells Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There you are. I'll read the letter to you because it's quite interesting. It says, "Dear Mr. Vervat, I have received your letter of the 19th ult with thanks, and am now sending you herewith enclosed testimonials duly filled out, and hope this will be helpful in securing my passport. The whole question is if you can have me admitted in your school and that your institution is a recognized one." That's a bit cheeky, isn't it? "The rules of obtaining a passport also states that one must be a high school passed or graduate, and he must possess a copy of certificate of equal force. So now I must tell you that I'm not a high school graduate, but I'm sure that I have such qualification. Even then, this may bar my way of getting a passport. However, I hope to pull through all these difficulties, and I will be able to come to you soon. It is possible, if you can see your way out, to give me every possible aid, and this will mean that lots of foreign students can have the chance of studying in your school in the future. With best regards, Samuel Chan." So this is a very famous letter, which I think I will send to the college, because these are all historical documents which may be of interest to the school. And to top it all, Andy and Jessica very kindly sent me this beautiful sweatshirt, MSOE University. I am, of course, from the Indian Institute of Technology, but I'm glad to have this memory in memoriam of my father. So that concludes a very lovely story.